the Whatever You Want to Call It podcast with me, William Bart. And we've got some more information for you now. This from Axios. Harris border confusion haunts her new campaign. The only thing is, Axios previously did refer to her by the honorary title of Border Czar, and they're now trying to gaslight us, saying, we never called her Border Czar. And now the entire media apparatus is taking the same route. So let's dive right into this. In early 2021, President Biden enlisted Vice President Kamala Harris to help with a slice of the migration issue, a move that has turned into one of the newly presumptive presidential nominee's first campaign headaches, why it matters, confusion around the VP's exact role, early media misfires, and the rapidly changing regional migration crisis has made the issue a top target for the GOP trying to define their new opponent, and it has become even more critical for Harris to find a clear border message fast. The administration's early infighting, blame shifting, and indecision around their border response does not help her either. Driving the news in the past few days, the Trump campaign and Republicans have tagged Harris repeatedly with the Border Czar title, which she never actually had, and they are actually guilty of calling her that too. Harris was appointed Border Czar in March of 2021, and since that time, millions and millions of illegal aliens have invaded our country, and countless Americans have been killed by migrant crime because of her willful demolition of American borders and laws, Trump told reporters on a call on Tuesday. House GOP Chair Elise Stefanik introduced a resolution condemning the administration and its Border Czar for failing to secure the U.S. Harris supporters have rushed to her defense. She assumed the role that Vice President Biden had during the Obama administration, which is diplomacy with Central America. Former DHS Secretary Jay Johnson, is that how you say that? Told Fox News on Tuesday, she is not the Border Czar. It's just hilarious how they're basically playing hot potato with narratives. How we got here. In March 2021, Biden tapped Harris to lead the administration's coordination with Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, which were key sources of migration to the border. The announcement led to near immediate confusion in the media and in the White House over how involved Harris would be, with Republicans and some news outlets, including Axios, giving Harris the unofficial moniker of Border Czar. Shortly after, the border surge had grown into a full-blown humanitarian and political crisis, and let's just call it what it is. It's an invasion. They're not refugees or asylum seekers. If they were asylum seekers, legally they would have to go to the next closest country that would accept them, which for most of these immigrants, that usually tends to be somewhere in Central or South America, unless they're in Mexico and they're escaping persecution or war, something like that. These are just, what do you call it? Economic migrants. That's the term. These are legally economic migrants. They're just seeking better economic conditions. The Border Czar narrative stuck, especially in conservative circles, in calls mounted in spring 2021 for Harris to visit the border. Between the lines, immigration had remained a top concern for U.S. voters, and for the first time in almost 2 decades, a majority of Americans say there should be less immigration, according to Gallup. Making a clear immigration pitch to voters could be critical for Harris's campaign. The Biden campaign had been going on offense, blaming Republicans for killing a bipartisan border deal and touting a decline in border numbers following a new strict executive action. So this bipartisan border deal they're talking about wasn't actually a bipartisan border deal. It was basically a bill that would have codified illegal immigration, basically to decriminalizing the act of illegally crossing the border And, you know, they also threw in some other pork and bologna in there, like more spending for Ukraine and Israel. Yeah. Bipartisan my butt. Immigration advocates told Axios they are excited about the prospect of a Harris administration. Unlike Biden, they see Harris as personally well-versed and invested in the issue, pointing to her work on behalf of Dreamers and other immigration-related legislation in the Senate. She's really experienced and knowledgeable. She herself knows all this stuff, Carrie Talbot, the director of Immigration Hub, told Axios. Flashback. In her first trip to Guatemala and Mexico, Harris urged migrants to not come during a press conference. The message coming from the daughter of immigrants received blowback from immigration advocates, and one former official described the much shared clip as awkward. Harris then seemed to shrug off a direct question from Lester Holt about whether she had plans to visit the border, and I haven't been to Europe, she said. Weird. The pressure built, and Harris ultimately visited El Paso at the end of June 2021, though even then she faced criticism for not choosing a busier area or visiting a controversial temporary facility holding migrant children. Internally, Harris's team and her office made clear her responsibilities began and ended with the factors driving people to leave Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, as Axios has reported. As the migration became more global, the team remained focused on the Northern Triangle and Mexico. The efforts did bring billions of dollars of investment to the region from the private sector. Harris continues to lead the effort to address the root causes of migration, a White House official told Axios in a statement, including by generating more than $5.2 billion in investments into the region. Biden has embraced harsher actions at the border, using an executive order to largely cut off access to asylum for those who illegally cross the border while crossings remain at high levels. The actions have seemed to work, at least temporarily. June saw the lowest number of illegal border crossings since January 2021. This administration's executive actions have brought unauthorized crossings to a lower level than when Trump left office. President Biden and Vice President Harris are leading on border security, while congressional Republicans sabotage it, White House spokesperson Andrew Bates said. Blah, blah, blah. Spare me. Spare me your lies. Let's go to Colin Rugg on X. He's got a clip here of when Joe Biden appointed Kamala Harris as the border czar. New fact checker PolitiFact has issued a fact check stating the claim that Kamala Harris was the border czar is mostly false. This is called propaganda. Despite Harris being known as the border czar, as previously reported by Axios, PolitiFact has decided they need to help Kamala Harris win the election, so they are deciding to gaslight and rewrite history. The statement contains an element of truth, but it ignores critical facts that would give a different impression. We rate it mostly false, the propaganda outlet reported. Here is what Axios previously said about Harris. Harris, appointed by Biden as border czar, said she would be looking at the root causes that drive migration. The video below is Kamala Harris thanking Biden for appointing her. And here, let's watch this clip. It's like 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
I've asked her, the VP today, because she's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle and the countries that help. We're going to need help in stemming the movement of so many folks stemming the migration to our southern border. So this new surge we're dealing with now started with the last administration, but it's our responsibility to deal with it humanely and to stop what's happening. And so this increase has been consequential, but the vice president's agreed, among the multiple other things that have happened in the meeting, and I appreciate it, agreed to lead our diplomatic effort and work with those nations to accept the returnees and enhance migration enforcement at their borders. We're already talking with Mexico about that. She's already done that. We're going to be dealing with a full team now that we have to be able to deal with the problem here at home, but also to deal with it now in terms of in country. It's not her full responsibility and job, but she's leading the effort, because I think the best thing to do is to put someone who, when he or she speaks, they don't have to wonder about, is that where the president is? When she speaks for me, doesn't have to check with me, she knows what she's doing, and I hope we can move this along. But so, Madam Vice President, thank you. I gave you a tough job, and you're smiling, but there's no one better capable of trying to organize this for us.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and for having the confidence in me. And there's no question that this is a challenging situation. As the President has said, there are many factors that lead President to leave these countries. And while we are clear that people should not come to the border now, we also understand that we will enforce the law, and that we also, because we can chew gum and walk at the same time, must address the root causes that cause people to make the trek, as the President has described, to come here. Needless to say, the work will not be easy, but it is important work. It is.
Okay, we've heard enough. She's the border czar. And I have this little extra bit for you. It is House Resolution 253 from Congress.gov, expressing the sense of the House of Representatives that Vice President Kamala Harris should be removed from her position as the head of the Biden administration's strategy to address the root causes of migration. Whereas on March 24th, 2021, Vice President Kamala Harris was named Border Czar, in charge of leading efforts to stem migration across the United States-Mexico border. There you have it. Even though, as others have pointed out, it's in quotes, that is still a title that is being used. Although not an official title, it's still being used, as you can see here in this House resolution. So, moving along, James O'Keefe has been doing a lot of, I would call it, world-class reporting, on-the-ground reporting, and it turns out that ACTBLUE has allegedly been committing financial fraud. Just in, this is from legislation page on X, Harris campaign allegedly using ACTBLUE for a money laundering scheme. Reports indicate that $20 million from Swiss billionaire Hans-Jörg Wyss was broken down into over 1.6 million donations across 400,000 donors. Oh, this isn't from James O'Keefe. This is separate. Sorry about that. This is from Tony Saruga on X. Similar allegations have surfaced before. ACTBLUE has faced scrutiny for its donor verification processes, which some argue may permit illegal contributions and foreign money to flow into American political campaigns. In recent years, the platform has been penalized for facilitating nearly $44,000 in illegal contributions and has been called out for not requiring standard security measures like CVV numbers for online donations. Democrats at it again with dirty tricks to further destroy the integrity of our elections. Yup. Let's see what else they got here. This also from legislation. ACTBLUE is matching donations for the Kamala HQ campaign by up to 900%. The Harris campaign has revealed that donations have topped $100 million since Biden's exit from the race. They also announced that in this record 24-hour period of fundraising, money laundering, $81 million was raised by more than 888,000 people who donated sums of up to $200 each. Messages from ACTBLUE's mass messaging numbers show that they promised to match donations by up to 900%. This would mean that for the campaign to receive $81 million, they would need a mere $8.1 million in donations, and for $100 million, $10 million in donations. How much money did Kamala actually get, because she clearly did not receive the amount disclosed by ACTBLUE in her campaign? So I believe we're going on next to, yes, James O'Keefe's reporting. Buckle in because this is a little bit of a longer video, but it's worth the watch. This is how Kamala Harris raised all that money in one day. Silver Throat's donors mostly had no idea they even donated. Watch every second of this. Let me adjust the audio real quick before I start it. Here we go.
FEC data shows that some senior citizens across the U.S. have been donating thousands of times per year. Some of these individuals' names and addresses are attached to over $200,000 in contributions. We went and knocked on a few of their doors to corroborate the data that we received from a group of citizen journalists called Election Watch in Maryland. This is James O'Keefe with OMG. I'm here in Annapolis, Maryland. It's an individual who has donated a total of $217,000 made through 12,000 different contributions in a 3-year period of time. Now, sometimes these contributions have been made in variations of his name and variations of his address. You see this chart here. This chart shows a breakdown of the committees that were earmarked to receive the donations made through ACTBLUE. And this is all FEC and state data. We're wondering if these donors are victims of what appears to be a money laundering scheme, or these residents actually participated in the scheme, or making phone calls, or knocking on doors. These are things that you can do. We hope you do that. Follow me along and see what happens. This is something that you guys can do. Very easy to do. A lot of homes with bizarre amounts of data showing tens of thousands of contributions made through different contributors here. So a lot of questions, and we hope the Citizen Journalism Army at OMG can answer them. This is an easy...
By the way, I really commend him for his bravery in doing this, because I personally am not willing to go out and talk to people in Maryland like he's doing here, because of all of the political violence that their side has been culpable of. So I just wanted to insert that there.
Easy thing to do. Knocking on doors, asking questions. Get yourself a little microphone, get yourself a camera. You can use an iPhone. What we're going to do as citizen reporters is go back to the car and call them, right? We're going to call them. Get a few numbers to call. Contributed 3,000 contributions for $32,000. The FEC records indicate that you donated $32,000, 3,000 different contributions people made at this address in your name. Are you aware of that happening? You're not aware of that happening?
Talk to Donald Trump.
Talk to Donald Trump? Well, how would Donald Trump help me answer that question?
Hit him with a bat.
Hit Donald Trump with a bat?
Yeah. Right over the head.
How would that help me answer this question?
It would certainly get you in the news.
To do with
I want to see a scar on his fucking head. Now stop fucking with me.
Whoa. Whoa. Cindy No of Annapolis, Maryland, who in the year 2022 allegedly contributed over 1,000 times to ACTBLUE, totaling $18,849.77. That means Cindy would have had to donate 3 times a day, every day, for the whole year. Hello? Hey there, Cindy. My name's James O'Keefe, and we're doing a story on the number of people that have donated with your address. Did you donate to ACTBLUE, a political cause? How many times a month do you donate to ACTBLUE?
I don't know. I don't know how many times. I don't understand why I'm getting this.
Well, the question is, you did donate to ACTBLUE, right?
Yes, once in a while, yes.
Did you donate 1,009 times?
I don't know. I mean, once in a while I donate $5 or so dollars or something like that during election year.
What about $18,850?
I doubt that.
Not that many donations.
No, I don't think so.
The Federal Election Commission indicates that much money was donated to ACTBLUE and Biden for president.
I wish I could have donated $18,000 to Biden's presidency.
How much did you donate?
I don't know.
Order of magnitude.
like I said, I donate $5 once in a while because I have various charities I like to give to.
Do you know people are using your address?
I don't think so.
So, interestingly enough, she said she donates something like $5 a month. But we're getting kind of a pattern of reactions here as we do this. The woman was a very nice lady. She talked to us. So, interestingly enough, it's even a two-party consent state like Maryland, with the camera out in the open, people are still being honest. This is sort of new to me. Usually we use the covert cameras, but maybe the camera's a truth serum.
But does it sound about right? There's been 18,000 contributions
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
In the amount of like $170,000.
Absolutely not.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So that's not you doing that?
No, it's not.
But does the frequency ring a bell that you're donating that much every like 10 times a day sometimes?
No.
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 Do you think someone is maybe fraudulently debiting your accounts or
They
something?
must be. ACTBLUE is the one I use for political
Right, yep.
donations. And I do not make that kind of political donations.
Right. So right here, yeah, it's 18,672 different contributions that total an amount of $170,000.221.
No, 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 no.
So I'm about to call Garland Riggs. He's the excessive small amount donor. 31,073 individual contributions were made under his address. He's 80 years old. He lives on the outskirts of D.C. So many people across the country. I'm going to call him and see if I can make...
I want to say if I ever donated to a political action committee, I think that's what the PAC stands for, or a campaign fund, and they did this to me, I'd be outraged. Anybody should be outraged by that. You don't do that. That's fraudulent, and they're probably I should say they probably deserve prison time.
Make a contribution in his
the
name.
organization should just be
See how he responds.
disassembled,
He's either a victim
dissolved.
of some type of conspiracy, or he's a culprit himself. A lot of these phone numbers are available on white pages, on Google, and other apps where you can find people's phone numbers and information. Hey there, Mr. Riggs.
Yes.
James O'Keefe, just asking about those contributions we spoke on the phone. Have you donated to ACTBLUE in the past?
I don't believe so.
You're listed as someone who's given over 31,000 individual contributions to various causes for a total of $230,000 using your name in this address.
No, that's not us.
That's not you?
Nope.
Have you ever donated to ACTBLUE? Or
I think my wife has, but nowhere near.
are you aware that people are using your name?
No,
Have you donated to ACTBLUE in the past?
I don't believe so.
You're listed as someone who's given over 31,000 individual contributions to various causes for a total of $230,000 using your name in this address. How much did you donate to ACTBLUE?
So would you say 1,000 a year?
Probably not
Not 1,000?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Would the FEC records say that you've given $230,000?
No.
It appears that someone else may be committing a crime using your address. I'll email you that information, the FEC records.
And do you think you can find at least some of these individuals?
That's what I do, sir. So when you do these,
Best
you
advertisement
walk up
of
to
the
the
year.
home. You want to say the person's name. Let's call them Smith. Smith, did you donate to ACTBLUE or Biden for president? Do you know how many times donations were made in your name? Follow-up question, did you donate 3,000 times, right? You ask those questions in that manner in order to elicit honest responses. We have dozens of other homes just in this state alone, but hundreds across the country that match his profile. You can do the same thing, knocking on doors, asking questions. Like follow-up, we can also ask him for comment before we publish the story. We will do that too. This is James O'Keefe reporting on the ground in Annapolis, Maryland for OMG. We received this fact-based data from one of our first group of amazing citizen journalists over at Election Watch in Maryland. The Gibson Group and Maryland 2020 Watch have submitted a lawsuit to the U.S. District Court of Maryland regarding this grievance. But we're also aware of this happening in many other states. Is it happening in yours? We journalists over at Election Watch in Maryland. The Gibson Group and Maryland 2020 Watch have submitted a lawsuit to the U.S. questions to the right people in your state. Do you have what it takes? Go on o'keefemediagroup.com and we'll make sure you have the information you need to do this important story. This is James O'Keefe.
So yeah, absolutely shady stuff going on right there. Shady activity. And it's very suspect. Let's see here. From Matt Brainard. ACTBLUE disabled their credit card verification process so that as long as card numbers are valid, the name and address don't need to match the actual card owners. No other donation platform allows this, and it results in higher transaction fees. Why? My research on this was the basis of the report from Take Back America that was publicized on Fox News. Let's go see that. Exclusive. Data shows that half of 2019 donations to ACTBLUE came from untraceable unemployed donors. A Take Back Action Fund analysis of $400 million in donations to liberal causes raised red flags of possible foreign involvement. Exclusive. Less than 2 months ahead of the presidential election, with concerns of foreign intelligence again at the forefront, a conservative political group is raising serious concerns about millions of donations reported by a major Democratic fundraising platform. A preliminary computer analysis by the Take Back Action Fund, obtained exclusively by Fox News, has found that nearly half of all 2019 donations to ACTBLUE were made by people claiming to be unemployed. Action Fund President John Pudner questioned the veracity of those donations and called it a loophole that must be closed for the sake of election integrity. After downloading hundreds of millions of dollars in donations to the Take Back Action Fund servers, we were shocked to see that almost half of the donations to ACTBLUE in 2019 claimed to be unemployed individuals, he said. The name of employers must be disclosed when making political donations, but more than 4.7 million donations came from people who claimed they did not have an employer. Those 4.7 million donations totaled 346 million ACTBLUE raised and sent to liberal causes. The trend is continuing this year. An Action Fund examination of 2020 data from January through August showed an uptick in unemployed donations through ACTBLUE to 50.1% this year. ACTBLUE defends the integrity of its donations and said many come from retirees and people who aren't counted as employed, such as homemakers. According to the findings of the Action Fund, a nonprofit that aims to educate the public on conservative solutions for political reform, 48.4% of ACTBLUE donations last year, prior to the massive loss of jobs that came with the onslaught of the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdowns. We'll call it the job loss was a result of the lockdowns, not the pandemic itself. Came from those who did not list an employer or who claimed to be unemployed. Putner said the large number is a red flag that some donations may be illicit contributions from foreign interests attempting to impact U.S. elections. It is hard to believe that at a time when the U.S. unemployment rate was less than 4%, that unemployed people had $346 million to send to ACTBLUE for liberal causes, Pudner said, adding that 4.7 million donations from people without a job raised serious concerns. ACTBLUE, created in 2004, bills itself as a powerful online fundraising platform available to Democratic candidates and committees, progressive organizations, and nonprofits that share our values for no cost besides a 3.95% processing fee on donations. And we operate as a conduit, which means donations made through ACTBLUE to a campaign or organization are considered individual donations, its website explains. But critics, including the Action Fund, contend that the website allows credit card donations that are not verified. So anyone from any country in the world can donate without a paper trail. ACTBLUE's insistence on refusing to allow banks to verify their donations is an invitation to foreign programmers or others to send money through them using fake American names, and we encourage them to start letting banks verify the identity of donors to stop the potential for millions of dollars to influence our election, Putner said. Last year, the Republican Party created a competing fundraising platform called WinRed to counter ACTBLUE's prowess in small donor sourcing. According to the Action Fund, an analysis of WinRed's 4.9 million donations totaling $302 million found that only 4% came from people who did not list an employer or were unemployed. This year, the rate is 5.6% according to the data. And you got this little chart here. Total raised ACTBLUE, $889 million. Sorry, excuse me. Interesting. We purposefully wanted to examine 2019 first because before COVID-19, the unemployment rate was at 4% or below. It's hard to believe that millions of Americans who were out of work had $346 million to spare to give ACTBLUE for liberal causes. Yeah, didn't they say that already? Well, anyways, come on, man. We'll go to Wall Street Apes next. James O'Keefe, OMG, featured a citizen journalist video exposing ACTBLUE money laundering. Phoenix, Arizona resident had 20 plus donations made in her name to ACTBLUE. She did not recognize the donations. There's no way I could afford that. Donors denying high volume contributions. This is a criminal enterprise set up by Democrats.
Flurry of donations made in your name? About 20 donations?
I don't think so.
Have you ever donated to ACTBLUE?
Yeah.
Okay. These donations made, do they look familiar to you at all?
Not necessarily.
We're with Elder Watch. We're kind of following up with people that are over 65 years old, that people are using their name and potential address to just make micro donations.
Just seeing that, we're like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. That's kind of, people have been donating 40-cent donations in your name. That's kind of why we're like, what's going on here?
That's odd. I have never.
I can't imagine, even though I make small donations, recently it's been, pretty difficult because finances are not very good.
So we go with the bigger donations, which are probably yours. You see 500 there, 250, 100.
Those probably aren't mine. That's got to be in somebody else's name because I really haven't given that many.
What do you think is the biggest number you would have given?
Biggest number usually runs around $75.
So nothing like 500, 200, none of that?
No.
Oh gosh, okay.
I did not make a flurry of,
One would remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see there's a bunch of $100 donations in your name with this address and everything.
Oh, well, those are good.
Jeez Louise.
Would you like to get a refund from those donations?
I would say so. I recently changed my credit card, and I would recognize it if it was oh my God.
You would see those popping up and it would be...
Oh yeah. Because I would be screaming, wait a minute, I can't, no, there's no way I can afford that.
Right.
And there you have it. And this final clip for your viewing pleasure. Kamala Harris telling us what she thinks about 18 to 24-year-olds. Let's watch this short clip.
It's a specific phase of life. Remember, age is manipulation, and it's a specific phase of life. Remember, age is more than a chronological fact. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories, and they have a resident assistant. They make really bad decisions. And it's a specific...
So, Gen Z, 18 to 24-year-olds, they're lowering the mask to tell you what they really think about you. So remember that when you go to vote this year. Democrats don't respect you, and they think you're stupid. So anyways, what was I going to say? In summary, Kamala Harris is the border czar, and she hasn't been doing her job, at least not as good as she's supposed to. And ACTBLUE is committing not only election fraud on behalf of the Democrats, but also financial fraud and stealing from their donors. So anyways, that's been the news. Thanks for stopping by, and I want to ask that you, I know I went on for too long. It's been 36 minutes now, but I needed to get those out. Please smash that like button, subscribe, and tick the bell for more. Tell me about your, tell your friends about me, friends and family. Share me around. I want to grow. Maybe make this a successful little side gig. Who knows? Maybe I might even get bigger. I don't know. Anyways, I just wanted to tell you, whatever you do, don't have a bad day, and I'll see you later. Ciao.